Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Well, I didn't think I was going to be here, but on a late Sunday night, I made it, and I'm willing to get caught up. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993. Yes, I know all week I said I was not going to review Monday Night Raw. Well, most likely not. I managed to make it, and I didn't think I was, because like I said, I was just behind on content. I had stuff I wanted to catch up on, mainly like the baseball highlights, some topic videos I just wanted to get out there. I have another one that I might try to do this week as well, for like a topic video. Again, I'm trying to get a variety out there as well, so I just want to make sure I get that out there, but of course still keep the weekly content going as well. And I got to a great start on Wednesday when I got those 4 videos in, and then I was supposed to continue on Thursday, but then I was pooped when I got home Thursday. So then I ended up just spending the night just setting things up, watching Dynamite to catch up on that, and yeah, I ended up not doing anything until like Friday, and then Friday got tired. Yesterday I did stuff. Today I did stuff. On top of that all, I built my soon-to-be first child's crib today, well this whole weekend. So yeah, I thought before I go to bed, I'm going to try to get caught up with a Raw review, if I was still up for it, doing a SmackDown review. And after that, I will be uploading my my Bad Blood printed match card. I have that ready, but I want to wait till after I get the Raw and SmackDown reviews uploaded before I do that. But that is ready, and I think I have a pretty good card put together. I don't know if it's all going to come true, though, of course, but I have a nice printed card of a nice variety of like grudge-type matches for Bad Blood. Now, of course, All Out just happened last night for AEW. I didn't watch it, but I may try to see if there's a way I could at least watch the main event and live react to that, because I heard it was a pretty gory show. But if that happens, we'll get to it. Let's talk about, though, this past week's episode of Monday Night Raw. Labor Day episode, September 2nd, 2024, took place in Denver, Colorado. Same location as NXT No Mercy 2024, which was last week, which I did catch as well. And overall, I thought it was a great show. A good fallout from Fallout, Bash in Berlin, and we're now on the road to Bad Blood. We got several weeks, several bills. We had to start the Intercontinental Championship tournament, which, spoiler alert, I actually didn't put that match on the Bad Blood card. Because, again, trying to keep it smaller, I have some other matches I think that could take place as well. But we could get it, you never know. I think Jey Uso's going to win that tournament and take on Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. We also, obviously, just seem to get set up Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan in a rematch for the women's title. I kind of talked about it in my Bash in Berlin review, but I do kind of have an idea of a stipulation to do that. Because I do feel like both Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley and CM Punk and Drew McIntyre are both worthy of Hell in a Cell. But I don't think they're going to be doing 2 Hell in a Cell matches in one night. So I'll tell you, of course, again, what I did come up with as well. And a few other things, but oh yeah, speaking of which, CM Punk. We got to talk about that segment with him and Drew McIntyre. Took it to a whole other level with Drew McIntyre, what he did. Getting more and more personal. Yes, it was a TV-14 goriness and whatnot, but no. Still hits the heart, of course, too, with what he did to go take it a step further, of course. Something that meant a lot to CM Punk. That may have been 50 cents with arts and crafts, but it still meant a lot to Punk. And we also got a world title match set up down the line, which I think they may wait until Crown Jewel for the world title match. I did not predict a match for Gunther at Bad Blood. Give him a break. I'd say wait till Crown Jewel, especially with who his opponent is probably going to be based off what we got on this week's episode of Raw. So we're going to roll in and talk about this show. We opened up with Mommy Rhea Ripley coming out, making her entrance, doing her usual intro, and saying how her and Damian brutalized Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio at Bash in Berlin. They're just getting started because, after all, she did pin the women's world champion. And she wants Liv to come out if Liv claims she's as tough as she is. Liv didn't come out, though. Out came Dominic Mysterio, who comes out with a black eye and a burst blood vessel. And of course, he can't start talking because everybody's booing the heck out of him. And he says Liv ain't here for multiple reasons, but she will accept Rhea's challenge because she's beat her before and she'll beat her again. And then Dom himself is going to go on to win the Intercontinental Championship, and both him and Liv will have gold. Ripley wants to put it in a way he'll understand. She calls him stupid in Spanish, and if his little courageous Liv doesn't want to come out and play, she has a message. She'll fight her anytime, any place. Dom repeats that and Rhea warns him not to make her repeat herself until Liv comes out of nowhere and tries to attack from behind. Rhea though swats her side with a back elbow, and then Rhea goes after Dom but then she gets her foot caught in a rope, and then Liv takes advantage of that and works on the knee of Rhea Ripley. And then she pulls Rhea in for a kiss on the cheek, but runs away as Damian Priest comes out to make the save. We then, of course, have a backstage, and I believe the thing was throughout the night that Rhea did get her ankle injured, and I guess Damian would want to challenge Finn Balor to a match, but Finn Balor said he will only fight in a tag match, and he had to find a partner. Of course, he doesn't have any friends, but Rhea says she knows a guy. We'll talk about, of course, later on who that is. And I'm wondering if they're going to, for real, go with an actual love angle here, or if it's just a one-week thing. We'll talk about it when we get further on in the review. But anyways, we also got a recap of Uncle Howdy's excellent debut from the previous week on Raw on the Go Home show. Bo Dallas as Uncle Howdy in his first in-ring match as Uncle Howdy looked excellent, I thought, when they wrestled on the Go Home show for Bash in Berlin. Then we have American Made backstage. Gable's mad about it, yells that they won't put in that position again, and he calls the Creeds and Ivy Nile the best athletes that have walked through these doors in years, and they insist they go out there and show it. He slaps Julius across the face for good measure, and they leave for their entrance as they have a match, a six-person mixed tag match. Alpha Academy's Akira Tozawa, Maxime Dupri, and Otis taking on American Maids, the Creed Brothers, and Ivy Nile in a mixed tag match. I still think they need to stop calling Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine Alpha Academy. Because, unless if, Otis, again, is the new man in charge of Alpha Academy, I don't know. But I think they need to move on from that. What they'll call each other, I don't know. But the match was not too bad. I thought it was fun. Of course, the past couple weeks, though, past times we've seen Maxine Dupri in the ring, she has looked better, but they're still giving her, little spurts. I think it's time, show us her in a longer match, because she really is going in there, having, a couple seconds like the hot tag, and then she gets taken out by Ivy Nile, basically, it's the gist of what she gets. Because that's what happened here again. American Made won by submission when it's like a reverse dragon sleeper, or I think it says it's called the compassionate release. Ivy Nile put on Maxine Dupree, just like bending her backwards, which looks like, of course, it hurts like hell. But after the match, Shaggy gets on the mic and demands applause for the greatest fighting family in WWE, and he denies that he sucks because everybody's chanting "You suck" at him. Last week was supposed to be one-on-one with him and Uncle Howdy. But of course, they had to get the rest of the Wyatts involved. But that's his fault, and he's now going to challenge them to an 8-man tag match. Mixed tag. And says, put whatever 4 freaks you want. So basically, Nikki Cross and 3 of the 4 men will be fighting. Will Uncle Howdy, though, be one of them? I don't know. But anyways, the lights go out. Uncle Howdy appears on stage. And he mentions, it's been 375 days his sanity crumbled, referencing how many days it had been since Bray Wyatt had passed. He says his path is in the void now. The silence is defeating, but he can still hear. His life is no longer his. So if this is the path Chad has chosen, who is he to deflect from him his undoing? His gambling is very being, and they will collect the debt. Basically accepting the challenge. Again, I continue to really enjoy the direction that they've had with the Wyatt Six. Like I said, every week feels like it's progressing. And I still wish Bray was here. As like I said, I don't want to insult Bray when I say this. But again, I'm not going to deny before he got sick and whatnot, I was intrigued in his story, but it just felt like it was dragging to get there. Where right now, we're like, it feels like we're taking another step. Sometimes a big step each week, sometimes a small step each week. But I feel like the Wyatt Six is like moving at a good pace that is not going to make it boring and for us to be invested in consistently. But that'll probably be the main event, this eight-man mixed tag match next week. I'm assuming it's going to be, of course, all 4 members of American Made taking on, all 4 members of the Wyatt Six. The question, though, is will they actually give American Made the win? Because, yes, of course, this is the feud for the Wyatt Six to win. You kind of got to throw American Made a bone at some point. I still think if they do this, the only people that can take a pinfall loss, I feel, is either Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy, or Eric Rowan. I don't think they should pin Nikki Cross, and I also don't think they should pin Uncle Howdy if he's in the match. Those 2, no. The others, I think you get away with, but I don't know. I just don't see the Wyatt Six losing. But you might have to. I don't think they either need to be built up on losing. I don't think one of like the not as popular or not as like the 2 to protect for sure is Nikki Cross, since she is Abigail the Witch, whoever they want to call her, and the only female star, and Uncle Howdy, who is the leader. I feel like you gotta protect those 2 the most. You could probably give, again, maybe either Lumis or Gacy. Like, Rowan, okay, but either Lumis or Gacy should be the one to take a pinfall, the pin if they're going to lose. But we'll see, though. But yeah, that's a nice match for next week. Hopefully the main event. We have Shayna Baszler take on Zelina Vega. Match was whatever. Zelina won with just a random... Shayna beat Zelina with just a random little Easter egg, looked kind of weak. Then afterwards, Lyra Valkyria, who I don't think we've seen her much lately, runs down to help Zelina to fight off the Pure Fusion Collective, but they overwhelm them in the numbers games. And then Sonya gets on the mic and tells the crowd to sit down, shut up, show some respect, and basically just saying, basically just like establishing a catchphrase or something like that, step up and shoot your shot, basically. And then there was a backstage later where Zelina and Lyra were talking about how they need to just overcome them and whatnot, how they're just basically dominated, and basically said, I know someone next week we're going to be in Calgary, so it's very obvious that Natalya is going to be coming back tomorrow night on Raw. And I also hear that Bret Hart's supposed to be there on Raw tomorrow as well. So we'll see how that goes. It has been a while since we've seen Natty. I don't think we've seen Natty, I'd say, was it since the draft? Since they split her and Tegan up? I don't know. Let's wait and see. Also, backstage, this is when Rhea says she knows a guy, but whatnot. We didn't find out yet, of course, who that guy was. Anyways, we then see... Then we see CM Punk come out. And we had this segment also where Lyra and Zelina were talking, basically teasing that Natty's coming back next week. But CM Punk makes his entrance and comes out. He says he never gets sick of the CM Punk chants before launching into his spiel. It's good to be on the other side of a very personal and ugly issue, and now that he thinks that it's done with him and Drew, he says it's time to get down to business. Because he's a businessman. He mentioned when he came back, he didn't come here to make money or friends. He came here to make money, not to make friends. He'll take that money however he can, and he calls out Gunther and says nothing can fix the chip on his shoulder but that belt, and it's time CM Punk woke up as champion. So again, he thinks this is all behind him, right? Nope! From behind, while he's celebrating, he is attacked by a black hooded figure, and it's Drew McIntyre. He beats him down on the desk, mouthing him with punches, slamming the back of his head into the desk over and over and over again. Now, I gotta mention this. So Wade Barrett got involved again, breaking up McIntyre. And it happened also on the Money in the Bank post show when he flipped out on Punk for costing him his cash-in. And so I'm wondering, is Wade Barrett going to get a little more heavier involved in this storyline? I don't quite know what it is, but anytime Wade's got involved in it anymore, it's just with Drew. So I don't know if that is actually going to lead to something, but it's something we should pay attention to, I feel like. But anyways, Wade tries to get him to talk some sense into him, but instead Drew won't listen, and he clayboard Punk. But he wasn't done yet. So he puts Punk back in the ring, and he walks over to Punk, and he grabs his arm, and he takes the bracelet back. The bracelet that Punk got off of him at Bash in Berlin, when he beat him, but right before he beat him in the strap match with the Four Corners rule. And the road agents try to wave him off. Drew, though, who thought was just going to take the bracelet and walk away and just glow with it more, is even more angrier, takes the bracelet and breaks it, takes the beads, shoves it in Punk's mouth, and claymores Punk with the beads in his mouth. I'm like, oh shit. So, and not just that, while Punk was being taken away on a stretcher, Drew McIntyre wasn't done. He basically told Punk, I'm not finished with you. Trying to talk like a Scottish version of Braun Strowman. But anyways, he comes out of nowhere and he starts attacking him again. He tears at the neck brace as Punk starts to bleed from the mouth, gouges Punk's eyes out, and the referees and road agents are barely able to pull him away before Punk gets loaded into the ambulance. Now, as I mentioned in the Bash in Berlin review, there are two matches, and Bad Blood, I feel like, and a lot of people feel like, this should be a pay-per-view full of grudge matches. Like, people who just want to tear each other apart because they just have all this tension between them. Which is also why I went with the match card I did. You'll see that, of course, momentarily. But I will, of course, also share this. So, I was back and forth with... Because I don't think This is not a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So I don't think we're getting 2 Hell in a Cell matches. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is definitely the bigger match to do inside Hell in a Cell. However, though, I feel like the true match that has the true story of they need to keep people out of the way because people can keep getting involved is Rhea and Liv, which I feel like a match like that that's worthy storyline-wise of Hell in a Cell should also be in Hell in a Cell, so that way nobody can help Liv from Judgment Day. But then I kept thinking more because I know some people think that based off of this segment with Punk and Drew, they could do an ambulance match. I'd be okay with it. I don't think, if I'm being honest, was the last ambulance match really McIntyre versus Orton at Clash of Champions in 2021? Or no, 2020. 2020. Yeah, 2020 was. I think that was the last time we had an ambulance match. I'm not going to be against it, but Hell in a Cell just sounds so much better. So, if they do Punk and McIntyre in an ambulance match, Rhea and Liv is definitely getting Hell in a Cell. But I did think of a plan B, which this is what I went with my bad blood predictions. Punk and Drew will get Hell in a Cell. Another match, we haven't had this for a while. I think also the last time we did this was when we had the horrible... Oh, God. Before I even mention it, not give it away, I predicted, because this could be interesting, we do Liv and Rhea in a Lumberjill match. Stipulation, though, no male superstars can get involved. All male superstars are barred from ringside. It's just the female ones. Because you never know. They could do a thing where... Here's the thing, too. I don't know if Liv should lose the title yet. I feel like she has a little bit more mileage left with the title. So I don't think she should drop it yet. So my thing is you could do a Lumberjill match. Have all the male talent banned for ringside. That way, no Dominic Mysterio, no Finn Balor, no Judgment Day whatsoever can get involved in the match. And maybe, I don't know who, but you can get another, like... Heck, I always mention one, because she's not doing anything. What if they did something where, okay. Do this thing where, like, a female superstar helps Liv. Someone who has, like, nothing to do right now. I haven't seen her on TV for months. What if they give it to Kiana James? Because they called her up. She's only had, like, 2 matches on Raw. This might give her something to do. You never know. So, I think they could go that route. Having, like, a female, another female, and kind of, like, be paired up with Liv. Or, what if they did Raquel Rodriguez? I don't know when she's going to be back, because she was dealing with that illness, and I always thought Raquel could have used a heel turn. So it could be Raquel as well, you never know. But I feel like they're going to get some other, like, sidekick, female-wise, for Liv Morgan. Heck, isn't CJ Perry not with AEW anymore? And then they tease a love story with her and Liv, oh God, back at the wedding of her and of Lana and Bobby Lashley. Okay, that's me thinking too far out of the box, but I think that's how it should go. And have Punk and McIntyre be Hell in a Cell. But I'll put polls out. I've been waiting to do a poll on this. I need to put a poll out on this. And see which one you think is more warrant of Hell in a Cell. Liv and Rhea or Punk and McIntyre. I still think Punk and McIntyre, but again, I understand storyline-wise why they would want to keep people out, but that's why I thought maybe do a Lumberjill match instead and have like another female talent like a Kiana James or someone who's not really doing much right now get the opportunity. So, we'll see how that goes. So we have that match. We have that all set up. We had the first of the 3 number 1 contenders, first of the next two triple threat matches where they'll be added to a fatal 4-way, where the winner of that will fight Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. So far from last week, or the week before, we had Jey Uso and Pete Dunne qualify. Now we have Dominic Mysterio, Dragon Lee, and Ilja Dragunov for the triple threat match. First off, I believe Damian Priest came out during the match and fought off Dom, which it kind of led to it being more so of a match between Dragon Lee and Ilja Dragunov, as Dominic just disappeared for a while. They had a good back and forth. Dragunov, though, did get the win with the Torpedo Moscow on Dragon Lee to get the victory. And he will be one of the third member of that Fatal 4-Way match next week on this coming week, tomorrow night on Raw, as it seems to be. So interesting dynamic there, especially with Damian fighting off Dominic out of the match, kind of taking away his opportunity, keep some beef between him and Judgment Day. Although at this point now you should be going for Damian and Finn. And that should be a pay-per-view as well. But yeah, good match. I definitely also can maybe see Ilja winning, since him and Braun have had some history on the main roster so far, so you never know. So Ilja Dragunov wins by pinfall. Afterwards, we get a recap for Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Now, Bronson Reed was originally supposed to be in the other triple threat match. It was supposed to be Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser, which also, shout out to Ludwig Kaiser. He made an appearance on SmackDown, on the Go Home show of SmackDown for Bash in Berlin, and answered LA Knight's open challenge. And first off, he was definitely the babyface. He was very over, and I thought he had an excellent showing for the U.S. title. So definitely props to Ludwig there. But it was supposed to be Sheamus, Ludwig, and Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed, though, got sick with the virus last week, so he was unable to compete. So they had to find a replacement. Backstage, Adam Pearce was being interviewed talking about Bronson Reed getting taken out of the tournament when Braun Strowman rolls up to ask for his spot, saying medical has cleared him, and then Pearce says, well, if they say so, then go ahead. So Braun Strowman replaced Bronson Reed in the match. I'll get to, of course, in a second what I think is going to happen, because based on the results of that third triple threat match. And then, this was weird. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill make their entrance, as they're now the women's tag champions. They won the titles back from Unholy Union at Bash in Berlin. And they watched a number one contenders match between Damage Control and Unholy Union. This was weird because I think during the match, Damage Control, who are supposed to be the baby faces, I still can't call them baby faces. They have no story to being faces again. And they have this match. They somehow ran into Bianca and Jade. And Unholy Union still won. Yet, Bianca and Jade went into the ring and started barking at Damage Control instead, as Unholy Union just walked away and looked like chumps. So I think that's a match for next week. Bianca and Jade versus Unholy Union in a rematch from Bash in Berlin, whatever. But yeah, that was weird. Like, why was Damage Control beef with them when they're not even wrestling for the titles next week? Weird booking. I don't know what that was all about. Anyways, we had Kofi Kingston talking to Adam Pearce about how Judgment Day haven't defended their titles in 2 months, which is very true. The tag titles, well, on Raw at least, are literally nothing. We haven't had the tag titles defended on pay-per-view also since WrestleMania, which is very unfortunate. But of course, I don't know what's going to happen with New Day now since Odyssey Jones is apparently gone from WWE. It's a shame because I was really behind that story. I don't know how they'll follow up from it and keep like that story going, but we'll see. But that was happening before we see Gunther make his way out to the ring to address the WWE Universe. Oh yeah. Anyways, before we have Gunther come out, Damian Priest asks Rhea, what did he say? Rhea says he didn't say yes, and she has this like very happy look on her face. So I'm wondering, are they gonna be doing this storyline wise, or is it just like a little tease thing here? He didn't say yes. He said, "Yeet." Yeah, that's right. It's Jey Uso who was the tag partner for Damian Priest. And like I said, I don't know if they for real are going to do like they teased like a love angle with Jey Uso and Rhea Ripley. I don't know if they're for real going to go through with it, but it's kind of funny seeing them do with it. And of course, Damian's like, well, we do have history, so him and I do have to talk, but he appreciates Rhea for doing this. Gunther comes out, talks about Bash in Berlin, how it had the highest gross rate of any arena show in WWE history, and how us degenerates have the honor of looking at the man responsible for it. And there's more to celebrate, since he beat one of the greatest legends, Randy Orton, as well. And now, though that he has done so, he can stand there and say he's beaten the right version of Randy Orton. The kind of the thing from King of the Ring, that botched finish has, gone away. And that big weekend was just another chapter in the legacy of the greatest world heavyweight champion ever. But then, here comes Sami Zayn, who I was kind of surprised to see, because apparently he's been starting to undergo that stem cell therapy to nurse some injuries he's been working with for a while. So I didn't think he'd be back yet. But anyways, Sami comes out. And people have wondered when, of course, even though I think this might be a little too soon for them to do it, because I think the story should be eventually that Sami's one of the very few that have actually beaten Gunther. So this is a true threat to Gunther's title. But Sami comes out and says, it's funny you're talking about legacy, because he spent the last couple weeks thinking about his IC title reign. And he talks about it as the greatest workhorse title. People also forget that the true greats, the greatest of greats, Randy Savage, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Zayn's hero as a kid, Bret Hart. They all won the IC title. But to them, it was a stepping stone to the world title. And now Gunther's doing the same thing. And that's what Sami wants to do as well. He wants the world title. Gunther tells him, you're right. But where he and those men he listed stepped up after losing the IC title, Zayn stepped down. But he thinks that's why the fans really like it, because when he gets knocked down, he picks himself up and returns to the ring. And now he's standing in front of him, challenging him for his title. And he hears the passion in his voice. And he sees the fire in his eyes. But unfortunately, Gunther's answer to Sami's challenge is no. He goes to leave. But then Sami calls him out for it and says he's watched his entire career and he's never backed down from a fight. So why back down from this one? And he thinks for as great as he's been, he knows full well that Sami is the only guy who's ever beaten him in the middle of the ring. Well, he is one of the only ones, of course. He's only one of the very few. He tells Gunther he can run as long as he likes. But make no mistake, he's coming for that title. So like I said, I think it might be a little early to do Gunther and Sami Zayn. I don't think they need to do this match at Bad Blood. I think they should wait because, again, the main reason, of course, why they also, besides the fact that Sami Zayn's awesome, that they put the IC title on him was because, obviously, they're going to be spending a few months doing overseas shows. And if there's anyone who's definitely gotten almost some of the largest reactions for the overseas shows, it's Sami Zayn. So, I think Sami, I think if they're going to do the match now, I think they should wait until Crown Jewel to do this match. Not at Bad Blood. Do it at Crown Jewel. Because even though Sami will not win, because I don't see Gunther dropping that title anytime soon. Anytime Gunther has a title on him, he has it for a couple years. So it's going to be a while until someone dethrones the ring general. But with how popular he is overseas, I think they should do Sami and Gunther at Crown Jewel instead of Bad Blood. So that's why it was not on my card. But we got that. Jey Uso's backstage, who is interrupted in his hype by the Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker. Stares him down and tells him that no member of his family has ever beaten one of his, and he's not going to be the guy to do it. He tells him to keep chasing after Mommy and keep yeeting, because he's going to get one chance to walk away, drop out of the tournament, and keep chasing Dominic Mysterio's sloppy seconds, because if he comes after Braun's title, he is going to lose. Jay just laughs it off and thanks him for the advice and calls him a rookie. So he's going to get Mommy built, but now Braun has his attention, and he's winning the tournament, the title, and beating Breaker's ass. And of course, he leaves and Braun's just fuming. So I'm still pretty sure Jay's winning this whole thing. But we'll see, of course. Speaking of which, Braun Strowman beat Ludwig Kaiser and Sheamus in the other match. Pete Dunne took Sheamus out of the match, attacking him again. After Sheamus caught Ludwig, I believe it was, with a bro kick. Pete Dunne rolls him off of the cover and lays him out with a shillelagh yet again. I tell you what, if I had more room on my card, I would have loved to see them have a pay-per-view match, but I don't think they're going to have a pay-per-view match. Braun then hits a running power slam on Ludwig, and Braun Strowman advances to the finals, which is making me think that Bronson Reed will probably be back this week. I think Bronson will come out and cost Braun the match. And like I said, I think they were originally I thought they would do Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins, but I don't think not quite yet. I think based off, of course, how over the segment was and the no contest of a match between the two of them last week, I think we're going to, before we get to Bronson and Seth, I think we're going to do Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman at Bad Blood. And I'm predicting it to be a last man standing match. I think that would be a pretty good match to do between the two of them. Go from a big hoss fight to two men just beat each other up. Wherever Bronson's going to tsunami Braun onto, it's going to be quite cool. So, we got that match being set up as well. We also have Damian Priest and Jey Uso talking backstage, saying he's grateful for his assistance, but they have a past to acknowledge. Jay says he's been where he is, without friends, and he respects him. And they're cool, so they're ready for their tag match in a little bit. Before we got to that tag match, though, we had Pete Dunne being interviewed backstage, being asked why did he attack Sheamus again. He says he was just sending Sheamus a message from an old friend, and he's off to NXT to kick Trick Williams' ass. And then he's then asked if she should tell Sheamus the message was from Butch. And he turns around and tells her, "Do not call me Butch." Which I like when he gets angry about that. And then Damian Priest and Jey Uso win the main event. And that was the show. It goes off the air. And I think we will be getting Finn Balor and Damian Priest one-on-one. I didn't give it a stipulation. If they would give it a stipulation, though, for Bad Blood, if they have the match, then I'd say that one should get the first blood match. If they're going to bring it back, do it with Finn and Damian. They could definitely do it, though, with any of the other matches I mentioned. Like, they could definitely do it with Liv and Rhea. They could do it with Punk and McIntyre. They could do it with anybody, but I think they'll do that. But so yeah, I basically set up 4 matches, gave away 4 of my matches on this card, for my predicted match card. I think we're gonna get Finn and Damian, Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman, which you can do first blood for that as well. Rhea and Liv, and Drew and Punk. Those are 4 matches of the 6 matches. 2 are coming from SmackDown, which SmackDown I'll review next. I don't know how I feel about that show. But yeah, for this episode of Raw, I give it a B+. Had some nice setups there. My favorite thing still for sure was the stuff with Drew and Punk, and how Drew took it even farther, breaking the bracelet and shoving the beads in the mouth of Punk and claymoring him with the beads in his mouth. That was crazy of a spot. But yeah, that's my review of Raw. Gave the show a B+. What are you guys' thoughts on this past week's episode of Raw? Again, I'm glad I was able to get the review in. Again, I'll go review SmackDown. Then I'm gonna upload the what's it called? I will do the SmackDown review, then I will upload those two, and then I'll also upload the Bad Blood match card before I go to bed tonight. And I will talk about my predicted matches in the SmackDown review as well as what I think is going to happen there. Because I actually am very pleased with this card for Bad Blood. If we get the card I predict for Bad Blood, it's going to be a very exciting show with the whole grudge match theory to it. So I'll see you guys in my SmackDown review. Again, what grade would you give this past week's episode of Raw? Again, I gave it a B+. Leave your comments down in the comments section below. And be sure also, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93. You may also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!